Good evening. I'm coming to you live from Jerusalem. Israel is at war, and there was a stark reminder of that overnight when, on the anniversary of the October 7 attacks, Israel was targeted with missiles in the south, north, and over Tel Aviv. We were in an open field doing an interview when one missile was launched, and I'm going to tell you more about that dramatic moment later. I've got another very special show tonight, a big interview with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert. He says it's time for the war to end and reveals that his sources tell him the Hamas leader could be dead. Now, he's a rival to Netanyahu, so he has a different view on how the war should play out. He also takes a subtle dig at our own Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. I've also got tonight an incredible story of two young women who were hunted down by Hamas at the Nova Music Festival and miraculously survived. 400 were killed that day. Also on the show, family members of the 9-month-old baby taken hostage in Gaza speak to me, sharing their hope that baby Kafia and brother Ariel are still alive. And Israeli politician Sharri Markson will join me live here in Jerusalem, along with distinguished veteran of the Prime Minister's office, Danny Seaman. This is a special week of programming from Israel, and you don't want to miss any of it. Well, first let's start with the beautiful vigils that took place around the world to remember the October 7 massacre. In Sydney, 12,000 people gathered in Dover Heights, where Peter Dutton has been widely praised for his powerful speech.
We are on the side of civilisation over barbarity, and that is why every Australian, drawing on their instincts of decency and a fair go, must join with Jewish Australians to reject the anti-Semitism. That
is real leadership. In Melbourne, 8,000 came together in a vigil where Zionist Victoria President Yossi Goldfarb said anti-Semitism had been allowed to fester under weak leadership.
There is a permissiveness that has let anti-Semitism fester, a permissiveness encouraged by weak and ambiguous expositions of our foreign policy.
You would have known that the Prime Minister was in the audience. Now, I'm told the event ran around 2 hours overtime, perhaps punishment for Albanese, who couldn't possibly have left early and had to sit through all the criticism. But after all the aggressive pro-Hamas protests we've seen, where hatred and terror is celebrated, it's such a contrast to see these beautiful, peaceful events. They were attended by both Jews and Christian Australians standing in solidarity against evil. The major memorial event in Israel was held in Tel Aviv, organised by the families who lost loved ones a year ago. No politicians invited. This was a people's event. There were meant to be around 50,000 attending, but fears of a strike against Israel meant it was closed to the public. Instead, only the family and friends of those who were murdered were there. And the event was beamed across Israel to millions. Many gathered in parks to mourn together. And Israel was on high alert yesterday, and it turned out there was good reason for that. There were 3 attacks targeting central Israel on this sacred day of the October 7 anniversary. Security was tight at this peaceful memorial event. As it was getting underway, I was speaking with a father who'd lost 4 family members at Kibbutz Be'eri. Suddenly, there were sirens. Yemen was attacking Israel with a surface missile. And here's how that unfolded.
Is that lucky, or did you have it locked?
No, we didn't have it locked.
Are you still filming, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, we're hearing sirens overhead. We've just been told to get down on the ground and cover our heads, which is what we're doing. We're at the memorial ceremony for those who lost their lives on the October 7 attack a year ago. It hasn't even started yet, and the siren raids have gone off. This means there's an incoming rocket. We've all been told to get down and put our hands on our heads. Something Did you expect this tonight?
We expect it won't happen, but we knew it could happen.
Sirens sounded at 193 locations around Israel, and families had to bunker down in bomb shelters. The Iron Dome thankfully intercepted the missile. But if Israel didn't have such a sophisticated defence system, the death toll would be unimaginable. The frailty of life in Israel is all too real for those whose family members were murdered or taken hostage a year ago. I spoke with the family of baby Kafir and Ariel. They became a heartbreaking symbol of October 7, bewildered, terrified as they were taken hostage while in their mother's arms. 1 year on, their fate unknown, their family desperate for answers.
Do you believe they're still alive?
I just can hope so, because we all saw what happened in the tunnels, that are not eating, that are not vaccinated, have no condition to live there. I'm hopefully praying that will be all right, because maybe the children, maybe somebody that has children, maybe they are pity for them and will treat them. But I don't know. We are dealing here with a terror organization.
There are reports that they might not be with Hamas, that they might actually be with another terrorist group in Gaza.
That's what we heard. That's what we heard in the beginning. It was that they was taken by another group of terror.
Baby Kafir, the world's youngest hostage.
Yeah, you can see him here. He was the picture here.
What's your message to the international community?
Help us, please. There is no time for them. A year in captivity. Nobody can understand that. And the world is putting pressure on us. Put the pressure on all the other countries. Open your eyes. I can't understand that. He's not. Baby is kidnapped. Baby is not a soldier. He's not a pilot. He's not everything. He's a little baby. Look at him. Look at him. He was only on his hand. You all saw the famous picture of Sharri holding the two children in their arms. Heartbreaking. Yeah, heartbreaking. But how can it be? How can somebody, a man, or I don't know, to take them, the mother with the two sons together? They are monsters. That are not human. Everybody should understand what we are dealing here with. And I don't understand why the world does not understand that.
Monsters to kidnap a 9-month-old baby. The Bibbers family there, as you can see, making a desperate plea through us on Sky News for the world to pay attention. And every parent around the world should feel agony at the thought of a little baby trapped in the grips of terrorists. I also spoke last night to the family of 20-year-old Nathaniel Young, who was killed while fighting off Hamas in the south.
Nathaniel, our son, was one of the first to go out from that base to try and fight against the terrorists. They didn't know there were so many of them. And amongst the undergrowth, Hamas basically ambushed his unit there.
We found out halfway through the day that Nathaniel had been taken to a hospital, and we didn't know which hospital or where. It gave me relief that, first of all, he wasn't dead and he hadn't been taken hostage, because at that point we'd already heard of some people who had been taken hostage. So we kind of thought, okay, so he's broken his leg, it will get better, everything will be fine. But then we got more worried as he still wasn't answering his phone.
I drove. As I'm getting to the hospital, I see the rockets flying over my head. And when I got to the hospital, it turned out that I'd got there too late. Nathaniel had already been pronounced dead. I hadn't had the opportunity to say goodbye to him.
Actress and international anti-Semitism campaigner Noa Tishby was also at the memorial, and she spoke of how Hamas fooled Israel and the world into thinking it wanted peace when the entire time it was planning an attack on Israel.
The entire time they're fortifying underneath Gaza, building tunnels that are larger than the subway system of New York City, and planning to destroy the state of Israel and destroy their own people. Yahya Sinwar, Hamas basically sacrificed Gaza. He knew the devastation that is going to happen, and he got exactly what he wanted.
There's so much resilience in Israel, this determination to survive, and no matter people's political opinions, there does seem to be widespread support to defeat the terrorists. Do you think that's right?
I think that's 100% right, and you know why? It's exactly why the same lyrics of this song. This song is called I Don't Have Another Country. And the thing is that for the Jewish people, there is no plan B. We don't have another country. There are Jews everywhere in the world. They are accepted and assimilated in many places in the world, but they all know that to some extent, the state of Israel is an insurance policy for every single Jew around the world, and everybody here knows it. There are 9 million people that live in this country, 7 million Jews and 2 million Arabs, and they know that there's no other country. So Iran and its proxies really miscalculated the Jews of Israel and really miscalculated the resiliency of the people who live here.
Noah, you came on my show right before October 7 last year, and we had a conversation about anti-Semitism. We've seen that in spades over the past year, and we've seen the pro-Palestinian activists, really pro-Hamas activists, because we all are pro-Palestinian, but the pro-Hamas activists pretend that they're anti-Zionist, but that is being anti-Jew.
I believe that at the moment, a year into October 7th, nobody is misunderstanding that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Criticizing of the state of Israel, criticism of the state of Israel, criticism of Israeli policies or politicians is completely valid. There's a lot of discussion and debate that is happening in Israel. That is what a flourishing democracy is about. But denying Israel's right to exist, this disproportionate obsession with the state of Israel, this attributing the greatest evils in the world to the single Jewish state in the world, saying that Israel's committing a genocide is preposterous. Anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are indistinguishable. One is the other, and I do believe that people understand this more now than they did when I was on your show.
It's a lesson we wish we didn't have to learn. Thank you so much, Noah.
And the point she makes is absolutely right. How is it that unprecedented racism against Jews has exploded around the world in reaction to what was truly a genocide against Israelis a year ago? We've all felt the darkness of the racism being allowed at first to fester and then to explode in our streets, left unchecked by politicians and law enforcement. But seeing the tens of thousands who did attend the October 7 commemorations around Australia and the world gives us hope that good will prevail, that Jews are not alone, and that the fight against terror isn't just a battle for Israel, but one for democracy, values, and freedom around the world. The barbarity and depravity of October 7 shows us that there's no room for failure. This is a battle that has to be won.